5, 4,
Engine
3,
start.
2.
Enter burnout detect mode.
Electron has successfully cleared the pad at Launch Complex 1 and is on its way to orbit. We're at T plus 50 seconds into flight, and we're quickly approaching max Q, or maximum aerodynamic pressure, and that's the moment in Electron's ascent when the pressures on the vehicle are at their peak. We'll be coming up on max Q in around 10 seconds or so.
Approaching max Q. And cleared max Q.
And we just heard the call there. Electron has cleared max Q without any issues and is continuing on its way to space.
Stage 1 guidance is nominal.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal. Stand by for MECO in approximately 30 seconds.
Very soon the vehicle will shut down its Rutherford engines on the first stage to slow the rocket down before the first and second stages separate. This is a milestone during launch that we call main engine cutoff, or MECO. After the stage separation, the Rutherford engine on Electron's second stage will ignite to propel the stage to orbit. So let's listen in for those calls.
MECO confirmed.
Stage separation successful.
Stage 2 ignition confirmed.
And we've had confirmation of MECO and ignition of the engine on Electron's second stage. In just a few seconds, the fairing atop Electron that protects the satellite during ascent will be jettisoned. Once Electron has cleared the Earth's atmosphere, there's really no need to keep the satellite enclosed in the fairing, so we jettison the fairing halves ahead of payload deployment to reduce weight on the way to orbit.
Stage 2 propulsion is nominal.
And that's a successful fairing jettison. So Electron's second stage is continuing to orbit as we approach a process unique to our rocket, a maneuver that we call the battery hot swap, and that's coming up in around 3 minutes' time. Due to the time of liftoff and positioning of the rocket, we're not going to be able to see too much in terms of views of the Earth this evening. But what we can see is that we're at T plus 4 minutes into the mission. And as we mentioned before, our next major milestone coming up is the battery hot swap.
Stage 2 guidance nominal.
If you take a look at the top right of your screen, you'll see the live telemetry coming down from the vehicle. Electron continues as expected at a speed of 12,000 kilometers per hour and at an altitude of 174 kilometers, with hot swap coming up in just over a minute. Because our Rutherford engines are electric pump fed, they quickly drain the batteries we have on board to power Electron. So we switch out the batteries right at the optimal moment for a third new one and a seamless transition of power source. The battery hot swap is scheduled to occur just under 6 minutes into the mission, and we're approaching that timing shortly.
Battery jettison confirmed.
Hot swap successful.
Stage 2 propulsion nominal.
We've had confirmation that battery hot swap was successful on Electron, and second stage propulsion is continuing nominally.
AFTS is saved.
For those of you just joining us, on our 7th launch of 2020, we've had a successful liftoff, main engine cutoff, stage separation, and second stage ignition, and we're about a minute and a half away from separation of the kick stage from Electron's second stage. Electron is currently traveling at a speed of 20,000 kilometers per hour at an altitude of 202 kilometers.
H3 battery discharge.
We've got a nice view of that stage 2 Rutherford engine on your screen with Electron well on its way to orbit. This second stage carries the kick stage that the Strix Alpha satellite is attached to before the payload is deployed to its final orbit. We're now approaching stage 2 separation from the kick stage, but first the Rutherford engine on the second stage will throttle down before shutting off completely to allow for a clean separation. We call this SECO, or second engine cutoff, and this separation of the stages will place the kick stage in an elliptical orbit around the Earth for a coasting period of around 40 minutes or so. After that, the kick stage's Curie engine will ignite to circularize the orbit around the planet before the payload is deployed.
Guidance is in terminal, 6 seconds remaining.
SECO confirmed.
Stage 3 separation confirmed. And nominal transfer orbit is achieved.
And there's a call from Mission Control. The Rutherford engine on the second stage has successfully shut down as planned, and the kick stage has cleanly separated. As I mentioned before, the kick stage will now enter that coasting phase around the Earth for about 40 minutes until it reaches the best position for a Curie engine burn to deliver the satellite on board closer to its final orbit. We won't have video of that payload deployment, but it should look something like this. You can keep an eye out on our social media channels for news of payload deployment within the next hour.